Hoodie, that's what we are going to be learning today. Welcome back to my channel. To all my subscribers, you're always welcome. And if it's what interests to learn, stick to the video and let's do this together. So I have there the fabric I'm going to be using is a cotton like fabric. It's perfect for hoodie, and I have this rope I'm going to be using also. I have my tape rule, my scissors, my marker, and right there is the paper, and I already have some lines drilled on it. So we'll go now to the measurement. I have the starting point. That's where I placed my tape rule, and I came down about 8 inches for my chest line, then to half length, which is 15 inches, and then to the down part, which is about 20 inches. Yes, the total length for this hoodie is going to be measured perfectly when I'm cutting it out on the main fabric. And just stick to this video. I'm going to explain in detail how to get all that. Okay, now after doing that, I'll go back to the starting point. Then I'm going to be calculating how to get the neck measurement. So I just label the starting point as S. I'll bring a clean paper and show us how to calculate perfectly the neck, because now this hoodie is not going to have zipper at the front, so the neck is a bit different on how to cut it, unlike using 3x3 basic neck measurement. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking the head circumference. So now you can see the picture I have right there. That's how to take circumference of your head. Then the circumference of the head I'm using now is 22, so I'll divide it by 3, then which I get 7.3. Then to get my back neck measurement, I'm going to be taking that 7.3, I'll divide it by 2, and I have 3.6. Then let's keep this 3.6 aside. We are going to be using it for back measurement, for back neck measurement. Then for the front neck measurement, I'm going to be taking that 7.3 again. I hope you're understanding. Taking the 7.3 again, then I'm going to be minusing 2 inches. Then I will have 5.3. So I label the 3.6, which is for the back, B, and 5.3 for the front, which is F for front. Then I'm going to be taking it straight to the drafting paper. Then we'll start from the back measurement. So the back, we are going to be using that 3.6. You can see now I just marked the 3.6 from the starting point. Then I came down 1 inch, which is the depth of the neck, the back neck. I hope you understand. This paper I'm going to be using for both front and back. Then let's move to the front neck measurement. I'm going to be using that 5.3. So from the starting point, I came down 5.3, and I'm going to be cuffing it straight to meet up with the first neck, which is the back neck. I have exactly the way I'm doing it. So now I will label the first one B for back, and the second one F for front. After doing that, I'll proceed to the neck, to the shoulder to shoulder measurement. I already measured my shoulder to shoulder measurement. I got 15. I'm going to be dividing it by 2, 7.5. I added 0.5, which is going to be 8. And I slanted it down on this edge with 1 inch. You know, our shoulders are not just straight. So I slanted it and I ruled it towards the part. And after that, I brought the line down to the chest line. You can see now. Then this line, I'm going to be dividing it by 2, and I just make a point there. Then on the head, the angle I have, I came up 1 inch. Then on the half length I have there, just came inside about 0.5, and I cuff it, join these points together. This is just basic way to get a perfect armhole. And remember, we're just using our free hand. Then after I was done doing this, I divided the circumference of my bust or the chest measurement into 4, and I marked it there. I added my allowance. Remember, when you are taking your measurement for hoodie, is not tight and is not over loose, so just get your desired measurement. Then I came down to the half length. I took the same measurement I have for the chest line. I just removed 1 inch from there because this hoodie is for a female gender. Then for the down part, I used the same measurement I used for the chest line on the down part, and I connected these 3 points together, and I went ahead to cut it out. As simple as ABC. The next part that is a bit tricky, you can just take it back if you want to learn it more. If you don't get it initially, take it back and watch the video again. So now I'm going to be taking this paper to cut out on the main fabric. And then remember, we are using this single paper to cut out both back and the front because we already have the back neck cut out. Okay, now for the main length, remember the main length of this hoodie is 26. I'm going to be removing 3 inches. Remember, the hoodie has additional joints on the down part, so that's why I'm removing 3 inches. So 3 inches removing from 26, I'm going to be having 23. I will add 1 inch because of sewing allowance, which is going to give me 24 inches. So the length I'm going to be marking out on this part now is 24 inches. Remember, we already have 3 removed from it, so I'm going to be adding it up later on. But for this main length now, I'm using 24 inches. And I'll go ahead exactly the way you're seeing me doing it now. I'm just going ahead to cut it out. This is very simple tutorial. So I'll go ahead to just cut it out. Remember, when I was marking all my measurements on the paper, I already have all the allowances, everything added to it. So don't forget to add the allowance. So after I was done, I folded this fabric in 4, so that's why I have it cut out double. So I will separate it now. I'll bring back my paper. This time around, I'm going to be cutting out the back part, which the neck is the only thing that signifies this is the back and this is the front. I'll go ahead and cut out the back using the neck measurement. You can see. Then I'll separate it. I'll bring back the one I removed initially. And you can see now, I'll go ahead and cut out the front neck measurement. Now let me show you something. You see this 7.3? If I measure the circumference, this thing I have, the mark I have on the neck, if you measure it perfectly, you're going to get 7.3, and that is the trick there. So without wasting much of our time, let's go to the hoodie part. Now I brought back my paper, but this time around the paper is already half cut. I don't know, I used it for something else. Okay, we're going to be marking the hoodie or the neck cover. So we'll start from the back neck. So now we are going to be using that 3.6 first. So I will take my tape and mark 3.6. You can see where I'm shifting. I'm not starting from the edge of the paper. I just came up. You can see the distance now. Then I'm going to be marking that 3.6. So I just point it there, 3.6. You can see now. Then I'll take my tape rule and just rule it. First, point your 3.6. So in case if you are exceeding the line when you're ruling it, you already make the point there. Then on the edge of that point I make, I came up with 0.5. Then from that 0.5, I copied down to the 3.6 inches mark I have on the line. I hope you are getting me. Then after I was done, you can see I took the measurement again. That is 3.6. Then to mark the neck, the front neck, I'm going to be marking 7.3 because the circumference of that neck, that part that I'm measuring now, is 7.3. So I'm going to be marking 7.3 again. I'll start from where the 3.6 point I marked already stopped. You can see now. Then I'm going to be marking it 7.3. So I'll just take my ruler and join the line together. That is for the front neck of the main hoodie, the cover, like the head cover. Then you can see the distance between that line and the cuff I make is 0.5. So now to know what I'm going to be cuffing it all with for front part, I took that 5.3, I minus 1 inch, I got 4.3. So I'm going to be going downward like this, 4.3, exactly the way I'm doing. Just take a look at what I'm doing and follow suit. Then that is 4.3. Then that 4.3, I'm going to be slanting it to meet up with that first point I have, exactly what I'm doing right now. If it's a bit confused, just keep your calm. When we are sewing, as we proceed, you understand perfectly what we're trying to do here. If you are enjoying this video, don't forget to give it a like now. Give it a like. So at this point, I'm going to be measuring, taking the full length of the hoodie, and the full length is 27. I will drop a picture on your screen on how to get this length of the hoodie, and for me I got 27. So 27, I added 3 inches allowance to it, because normal the hoodie is not tight on your head. So I added 3 inches to it, and now I got 30. So I divided the 30 into 2 because the paper is on fold and I have 15. So I'm going to go straight to the front. That F I measure, I labeled, I'm going to mark that 15 inches there. So I don't need to add any extra allowance. I already had 3 inches, which is enough allowance. So now we're going to get how wide it's going to be, and that will make us to measure our eye to eye. Remember, half of your head is going to enter into this hoodie. So my eye to eye measurement is 18. I'm going to be giving a picture on how to get that too. And I'll divide it by 2 because the paper is on fold. 18 divided by 2, I have 9 inches. And I added 1 inch allowance. Then I got 10. So the wideness now, from that point I marked up, that place I lay my tape rule, I'm going to be marking 10 inches. So first I'll rule this line down to the F I already wrote down. Then the wideness, I'm going to take the wideness, which is 10. From there I'll place my tape rule and mark 10 inches. And from that 10, I'm going to rule it upward and downward just to connect it with the back part. So you can see perfectly now. Then upper part, from that length marked I have, I'm going to connect it to the other edge. And that's how to just cut hoodie. You can see this is the back part. Then from the back part now, remember the hoodie is not just straight like that. From that edge, I'll come inwardly 1.5 and I'll curve it to both sides, exactly the way you're seeing it. Because if you take a perfect look at your hoodie, you see that it's not straight, it's a bit curved, and that's how to get that curve. Then because the front part is going to be overlapping, so I'll come back to that F, which is the front part, toward about 1 inch on all the sides, exactly the way you're seeing me doing it, and I'll mark it out and join them together with a straight line. So you can see perfectly now. With this now, I can get that overlapping part. Remember, you can see how the picture is, the overlapping I'm talking about. Then after that, I'll go ahead and just cut out everything I have. And now I'm going to be using this draft paper to cut out on my fabric. And here is the fabric we have. I'm going to be laying it, folding it up in 2, and I'll go ahead exactly the way you're seeing it. I'll go ahead and just cut it out. So you're free to just cut all the part out. You don't like everything to be cut out. Then when you're sewing, you stitch everything together. After we're done doing that, we'll now go now to the sleeve part. You can see I'm using 1 stone to hit 2 bead. I'm going to be cutting the 2 sleeves together here. So my fabric is already folded in 4. So the length of the sleeve is 24, and I'm going to be removing 3 inches, exactly the way I did for the main length. I'll remove 3 inches from it, so I have 21. So from the starting point of the sleeve, I'll go downward about 4 inches, exactly the way you're seeing it. This is just basic sleeve measurement I'm taking, and I'll slant it to the edge like a kind of zigzag or S-like shape. You can see now. Then I'll come to the edge, to the down part, and take sleeve measurement. Then my round sleeve, remember, is going to be divided by 2. I marked it and I just connect it upward, exactly the way you're seeing it. The marker is a bit light, that is not really that visible, but just normal basic measurement for sleeve, that's what I'm taking right there. And after that, I just went ahead to cut out everything I have, and that is for the sleeve. Now we are going to be drafting out the front pocket, and I have this paper here. So the length I want for the pocket is 10 inches. So I just take my measurements on the paper so that it's perfect, 10 inches. I mark that place out, which is my starting point, and the wideness is 13 inches, but I'm going to be adding 1 inch, making it 14. So I have it divided by 2, which is 7 inches, and that's what I marked there. So I just folded the excess that is remaining, I just folded it in so that it's not going to confuse or will mistakenly add it to our main measurement. So I have the 7 for the wideness. Remember, when I'm cutting on fabric to be on fold, so I'll still go back to the 14. So that's 7 now. I divided it by 2 and I marked it up there, you can see. Then I came down to about 4.5. You can make it 5 inches, depends on exactly what you want. And even the length can be based on preference, anything you want. The wideness can be on how wide you want it to be, but that's how I want mine to be. So I make a point there and I connected this point with the point I make above first, and I'll go ahead and just cut it out. So now you can freestyle this part. You can decide to make it a bit curved. You can decide to give it any shape you want. If you've been seeing many hoodies, there are so many like shape for the pocket size. So I just decided, after cutting out that part, I just decided to slant it inside a bit small so that to make it a bit curved. So that's exactly what I have, and that's what I'm doing right there. So this is it. This is the draft for the pocket, and I'll take it to the fabric. You can see now my fabric now is on fold. I'll place it on my fabric and I'll cut it out. And guys, that's just basically how to cut hoodie. And if you are still here to this point, thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video where I'm going to be teaching us how to sew it. And that's exactly what we drafted out. That is the hoodie up, the body, the pocket, the sleeve, everything. Then the remaining thing that is missing here is the extra 3 inches that we cut out. I'm going to be showing us how to sew step by step in our next video. Bye.